Welcome back to Atlanta and Company. I'm Tom Sullivan. Well, healthcare reform is on the top of the government's agenda, but it'll be quite a while if we see any changes, really. In the meantime, healthcare costs are rising faster than inflation, and Americans' wallets are taking a hit at the doctor's office, and especially at the pharmacy. The drugs your doctor prescribed help you get well, but their costs make your wallet sick. My wallet is not feeling too good right now. So how can you and your wallet get some relief? Well, the shopping queen, Fatima Metakarimi, says you don't have to be at the mercy of high drug costs, and you're here to help keep those costs in check. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
I'm excited to save money at the pharmacy. My wallet wants to feel better. So let's talk about medications. Is the higher price necessarily mean the better drug?
No, that's actually the opposite. And actually in healthcare in general, price necessarily does not equal quality. So get that totally out of your mind. And that will really help you to save money, but because you'll be focusing on value, not necessarily just on brand name and price. So you want to make sure that you really understand what you're paying for and make sure that you're really getting the medication and not just the brand name.
Okay, sometimes, you know, we're driven by brand names and we think, well, I've got to have the brand name to have the best quality. That's why I don't want to have a generic drug. But explain generics and how can we get those?
Well, generics are basically the same thing as the brand names, except they don't have the brand name packaging and marketing behind them. And when new drugs come out, they're typically on patent for about 7 years generally. After that, they can become available as generics. You know, some of the major brand names that we've recently seen have been like Claritin and Zyrtec and so forth. They're going off of being brand name.
Right.
And so now you can get their generic equivalent. And you can save a lot of money by doing that. But you just have to ask. You have to ask your pharmacist. You have to look for making sure that you're getting the generic equivalent of it.
Sure. Sometimes I've had a pharmacist actually say, do you want the generic? And I'm going, wow, what a refreshment that is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to save money?
Yeah. Hey, great idea. What about free samples? What is this about, free samples? I've never gotten a free sample.
Well, a lot of drug companies through doctors offer free samples, and a lot of people think that free samples, first of all, they're free, they sound great, especially drugs which are so expensive because they're actually typically the more expensive brand name drugs that they offer in free samples. And while that sounds great on the surface, I actually warn against that because in essence they want to get you hooked onto these free sample drugs because these drugs typically are not medications that you would need once in a while. They're typically for medications that you would need for chronic conditions that would be ongoing. So they might give you free at the beginning, but they're going to be really high cost to maintain in the long run. So when you do take that free sample and intend to use it, make sure you really understand the cost of the free drug.
And I'm kind of skeptical about it because if my doctor's giving me a free sample, I'm thinking in the back room, he's pushing this, so maybe he's getting a free trip to Hawaii. You know, you never know.
Well, luckily that's all been curved drastically from what it used to be, but still there is definitely, you know, pharmaceutical reps having their sway with the doctors.
Absolutely. Now, that leads to the next question. Who do I trust? Trust is a big deal with my doctor, my pharmacist. So how do we find that trust?
Well, I would say you can trust both. First of all, regarding your doctor, I would say make sure you communicate your needs with the doctor as far as medications. Don't just assume that your doctor is going to prescribe the least expensive for you. Is to really say, I want to go with a generic. I want to go with something that's not going to be that's not going to hurt my wallet as much. But at the same time, really understand that doctors in their practice medicine. They don't necessarily practice pharmacy. So the pharmacists are really your best source for telling you, oh, this drug has come out on generic. Oh, this drug has an equivalent that might be less expensive for you. So don't just go into the pharmacy, drop off your prescription and leave. Make sure you take the time to actually talk with your pharmacist and get their invaluable input. I've had numerous cases where they've given me suggestions that I've saved, you know, a few $100s depending on what drug that I was getting.
Yeah,
so
sometimes
make sure
it's
you
hard
ask.
to get to the pharmacist though because the pharmacy tech is just taking your order, you know?
Right. I mean, even if you have to wait, make sure you speak to the pharmacist.
Good idea. Now, what's the best place to get our prescription filled?
Well, as far as the best place to get your prescription filled, it can really vary depending on what kind of drug you're looking for. Right now, these days, there's so much competition in the marketplace. You've got drugstores, you've got the big mass merchandise like Walmart retailers in there. Even Costco has a pharmacy. So they're all competing for your pharmacy dollars. At the same time, they've got discount drug programs where they can offer you 30-day supplies for as low as $4. In the case of Publix, for example, they've got a list of antibiotics that are actually free. So you can get
Wow.
free drugs, yes.
Hey, what a concept.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you familiarize yourself with all of the different programs available. And I do have a link on it on my website
Okay.
that I give descriptions of all the different programs and where to find out which drugs are covered and how much they are. And then that way you can decide where you want to go to get the best, quote unquote, bang for your buck.
Cool, cool. Let's talk about drugs on the internet and the mail. How do we do this?
Well, I would first say to look at your insurance company, because insurance companies obviously have a very big incentive to help you save money because it saves them money. So they typically have arrangements with mail order companies where if you order your drugs via their mail order company, you'll typically get the best rates that you can. If you don't have that option, then I would say look at Costco.com or look at drugstore.com because they offer their prices right up front, very easy, very clear to see. And as far as the internet, I know there's a lot of different programs out there that you can buy your drugs from Canada, from Mexico, from here and there. But I would say be very, very wary of that because you can't guarantee the quality or authenticity of the drugs, especially if you're talking with name brand drugs. A lot of times they can be messed with or not stored properly. So don't fall for the really cheap freebies because they might not actually be doing what you think they'll be doing.
Sure, and as we wrap here, eliminating prescriptions altogether.
Yes, that is the most important thing that you can do to really save money is to get healthy.
Yeah.
Because so many conditions from diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, they can really actually be eliminated. Your prescriptions can be eliminated just by improving your health. And the government has actually gotten into this, and they have a great website called healthierus.gov, which has great resources and guides to get people on the right track and start getting healthy.
Sure, and you have that link on your website, right?
Yes.
Great information. My wallet feels better already. Thank you, Fatima. If you'd like some money-saving tips, ideas, coupons, information we just talked about, and the links Fatima mentioned here, you can visit the Shopping Queens website at shoppingqueen.com. Well, is your debt piling sky high? Not just all